heartbeat so loud. I can't believe there's something left in my chest anymore. But goddamn, you got me in love again. You got me in love again. You got me in love again. You got me in love again, again.
And that was, of course, Dua Lipa with the smash hit Love Again. But that's not the only song that'll be tickling your earwaves this evening. Let's bring it down a moment, shall we? Let's get sad.
And I know I'm not supposed to sing along because of the delay, but sometimes I can't help it.
Don't even try and restrain yourself.
Don't ever let me go. Say just one time. Say you love me. God knows how to love you again.
Beautiful. And we're saying hi, hello, how are you?
Can we do a karaoke podcast?
We can't. I do want to say
We have to fix the delay.
There's an emotional resonance hearing her plaintive tone and then your plaintive tone just 1 second behind it.
My delayed squawk, yes.
It's not a squawk. Beautiful.
Well, I loved both of those songs.
I do too. And they really, and this
Yeah.
was fully planned, capture the duality of the excitement of being in love again and the difficulties of being in love again and the desire to be held again.
The high energy, heart pounding moments and the comfortable, sort of peaceful, wistful moments. I mean, ooh.
Mm.
Yes, I mean, layers, lasagna.
Layers and layers. Oh, God, I love lasagna. And not one of those weird lasagnas where it's aluminum foil and meat, like a real lasagna with noodles and stuff. Remember that?
You don't want to know how much time I spent with AI making a picture of that for the works I did that week. It was a lot. Let's just say it was a big chunk of my week.
Yeah,
My week was a dish filled with meat topped with tinfoil. This would be at least 2/3 of that dish.
Okay. And now that we know, of course, the environmental impacts of kind of using Gen AI in that way, just think about how many gallons of water you threw away.
That I'm okay with.
Oh.
It's just, I wish it did a better job because it was a lot of back and forth and me being like, I basically was like, hi, can you give me a picture of a dish or a tin filled with sort of piles of loose meat covered in tinfoil? And what it always wanted to give me was like, the tinfoil's covering the whole thing so you can't see the meat. And I'm like, girl, no. First of all, it's supposed to be only a thin layer. It's not supposed to be covering it like what it couldn't get past was like, the problem is the AIs, and here I'm going to do a rant. The AIs have gotten too smart to their own detriment because it's now smart enough that it understands like cultural context of like what's out there, which is like the way you would put tinfoil on a dish is you would cover it around the sides. Stop, I'm being smart and you're being rude. No, I'm not going to do till you keep doing it. That's hostile. Robert's doing spinny fingers to try to make me wrap it up and it's rude. Let me say my piece. But the problem is then when you want something different for the purpose of art, for the purpose of metaphor, for the purpose of imagination, and you come up with this brilliant motif of a pile of meat covered in a thin layer of tinfoil, it can't handle it because it hasn't seen it in day-to-day life. If it was a dumber AI, it could have given me that.
What do you even mean by covered in a thin layer of tinfoil? Tinfoil is inherently thin. Covered means covered. A sheet of tinfoil is thin. What?
So what I told AI, great question. What I told AI was, you're going to have to either make the dish clear so that I could see under, or you're going to have to make it not totally covered. So maybe an edge is peeled, or maybe it's not quite at the edges so that you could see the meat that way. It refused. Like I gave it a lot of good instruction.
That's actually very helpful. I now understand what you mean. I like so much of an AI.
Into your podcast app, you see there's a discourse happening. Is this book a masterpiece or problematic? One's a lifelong diehard fan, the other's a first-time reader. Both are really smart and funny and attractive. Sweet fact.
telling
love
about
the kind of peach story we're telling.
Me too. I'm sort of mesmerized by it, like on you.
And on you, I'm looking at you.
Yeah,
It's
mine's
like-
technically kind of salmon, but it comes across as peach, and it's definitely we're sort of simpatico
Yeah,
vis-a-vis the
definitely.
color scheme.
Yeah, I mean, mine is technically orange sherbet, but also comes across as peach.
Yeah.
So we're meeting in the
Hot,
middle.
hot. I love sherbet. I love orange sherbet. That's one of my favorite colors. I have a lot of that color in my wardrobe.
What about as a sherbet?
It's one of my favorite sherbets.
Oh, good.
No, I actually love it.
Me too.
And if you want to know something, oh, I could do an hour on the things I've done with orange sherbet that have gotten me strange looks in ice cream stores. Seriously.
Ew, like
But we
pervy
can't.
stuff?
No, how about this? Let's make that our carrot to get through this as quick as possible, and then I'll tell you my ice cream story, okay?
Sure. I think I just realized I don't understand the carrot and stick metaphor. If your idea of a carrot is me getting fed out the weird stuff you've done with orange sherbet, I may have misunderstood
No,
the whole time.
I just mean I've done weird combinations with it that are I do very unconventional combinations with orange sherbet ice cream historically in my life, and you and the audience could benefit from knowing about them. The book.
Hop into the book.
Well, Sweet Valley High, number 59,
Ooh,
In Love Again, or as Robert would say, In Love Again.
thank you.
I mean, do you have a 6-word review?
Proper relay team construction is vital. This book is a cautionary tale about what can happen when we do not put the right amount of thought into who is doing which role on a relay team.
May I build? Because
You
it's
must.
so important. I can't, it can't be overstated, the importance of what Robert just said, and I just want to amplify. So Robert said something about it's really important to properly construct your relay team, right?
Mhm.
So to give context, in this book, the B plot is there's something called Battle of the Schools, and it's a quote unquote mini Olympics. And I'm like, can you just call it one or the other so I don't have to hold both in my head? But they refuse to do that.
And sorry, just so that everyone knows, and I assume you're assuming this anyways, we get the first and last names of participants from all different schools, whom we will surely never see again. They give us first and last names for everybody.
Dominique Roy is burned into my brain, is seared into my brain. You know what it's like? It's like Nixium, how they branded them. I'm like branded, like so much of a Nixium member with the word Dominique Roy in my head. And if there was another season of Succession, Dominique Roy would be a wonderful name for someone in addition to the Roy family.
And they could
Okay.
take her from this text. I think she's a well-developed character here that we could really borrow. She's a good sidekick.
She's complex. She has her own lasagna going on that we could get into.
She has her own lasagna going on. Is a really beautiful way to think about things. So thank you.
So they're doing this mini Olympics, which is like this competition across private schools and public schools, which means love it, where our boyfriend who came back from Vermont last time is now rich, now goes to that rich private school, whereas we, being Liz, go to Sweet Valley High. And new rich Todd, our boyfriend that we got back together with in the last book, to the detriment of the person who everyone should dream and should only be so lucky to be with, our ex Jeffrey. And now we're being back with Todd and feeling really, really amazing. And yet at the cliffhanger saying, well, I hope nothing's going to change, even though Todd's I love it. And I am sure everything's going to be even better than before. Anyhow, so now there's this battle of the schools. And Todd is at Lovett and Liz is at SVH. And they both are actually competing against each other, doing the same part of the relay race, which is rope climbing. So that's the context for Robert's comment. So Robert, can you repeat your comment? And then I actually would love for you to speak on it. And then I got something else to add to it. This is so important.
Proper relay. Fuck, what was it? Proper relay team
Construction is
construction
essential.
is, I think it was vital, but I like essential even better. Those are both good.
Vital has more sort of vitality.
Yeah. Arr.
Trust your first instinct.
Okay, vital then. Liz is doing this is truly insane, or we don't use that word that way, whatever. This is truly unbelievable. The 3 legs of the relay are: one person runs while holding a spoon with an egg on it. Can't drop that egg. 2 people do a 3-legged race. which is where they're tied together and, and then the third thing is you have to climb up the rope, climb down the rope, and then run. Liz is assigned the rope climbing leg. Liz has never climbed a rope before. This, to me, is one of the most disconcerting moments of my young adult life. Unsettling. Dispossessing.
Yeah, it's very strange that on the one hand, this competition is positioned as like the highest stakes thing in the world. And like
Right.
everyone keeps repeating, even though there's no cash prize, even though there's no cash prize or anything in addition to this like commercial thing, the supposed glory of this being the best school and we're the best and we're the best in these very random series of events. There's also like a trivia bowl. It's like sports and like other random shit. Everyone agrees that this is a very, very high stakes thing that every school's, all the kids are really invested in. And yet, the amount of thought given to like who's doing what is virtually nil.
So when we're playing mixed doubles, we finally
Yeah.
do the right thing and we put our two best tennis players together. Everything
Yeah.
else is so underbaked. It is physically painful. And listeners, I'm just going to tell you, and it's not going to be good news. The quiz bowl questions are true false. Have you ever seen an academic competition where the questions are true false? Ever. A game show.
Can I say something else about this?
You must.
What your 6-word review made me think of in terms of like proper team construction is vital. Another thing that is vital to a mini Olympics with integrity, which we know that Courtney Kane's dad, the in charge person of the mini Olympics, it's important to him to have integrity because she tries to get him to cheat and he says no. They should be conscious of the fact that if they're gonna, first of all, it really bothered me that they hosted all the events on the Lovett campus because they have better, like, I don't know, fields and equipment and stuff. But it's like, okay, well, they now have a home, whatever advantage.
Field.
So already that's a bias to them. But then the fact that like the people setting up the equipment for the events was just random students at the school with zero oversight. So that Courtney was able to very easily sabotage Liz by giving a rotten rope. And I wrote Pascal's rotten rope when it was seen in the back of somewhere. And it's like, yeah, so she's the one who sets up the ropes for the rope climbing and she gets Liz one that's partly rotten and it falls and she's like, what, Liz will die or whatever. And like, I don't know what she thinks is gonna happen, like whatever. But anyway, someone should be checking the equipment and doing basic shit like that. There should be some system for that.
Also, like, we're just supposed to believe that Lovett Academy, one of the most prestigious and lovely places in the entirety of the world, just keeps an extra rotten rope around in their supply closet. They didn't get rid of it.
Yeah, you would think that that would probably invite unwanted critters, if not at minimum dust.
At
I mean,
minimum.
it probably doesn't smell good. And mold, okay? They have a chandelier in their
A what?
foyer. I remember when they were at Lovett, one of them clocked there was a chandelier in one of the central areas, wasn't there?
Yeah, I was trying to get you to say chandelier.
Oh, that's funny.
Thank you.
So yeah, the whole rope thing is ridiculous.
What was your 6-word summary, though?
So I'm doing the thing that we sometimes do where we just take a verbatim from the text.
Oh, I love that.
And it's, I guess that's how rope climbing works.
Right.
Which do you know the scene that this is from? Do you remember this? It was so random. It was when they were rehearsing or practicing or whatever for this thing. When you know, to make it awkward, Liz and Jeffrey are on the same relay team, which like they have to deal with that, and that all ends up being fine. But basically, like them two are, I don't know, he's hanging out while she is like, let me try climbing a rope. And she goes, there's not any footholds. She's like, there aren't even any footholds or anything. And Jeffrey goes, I guess that's how rope climbing works.
Compelling.
No, but also like, no, but he's also being like, Liz, you're dumb. And like, Liz, you haven't climbed a rope before. You literally don't. You're like, what Liz is revealing is that she literally doesn't understand the concept of a rope.
I think that's definitely
a rope. Not even rope climbing. She doesn't know what a rope is. She does not know what a rope is.
I will
She
say
can put footholds on it, like in rock climbing.
I will say in her defense, I think I have seen in the past. Oh, so sorry. I would like to come out of the closet now publicly as someone who has never successfully climbed a rope
Oh, I have.
at camp or
We didn't have rope. I mean, we had other things. We didn't have rope climbing, I don't think. We had it at school once, but
so you just
I was
climbed a rope successfully in your personal life or something?
no, I'm saying I've not.
Wait, I said I've never climbed and you said I have. Were you being funny?
No, but I was joking, like, oh, and I
Oh.
have. What?
Oh.
Oh, and I've climbed a rope. I don't. No, maybe they do have knots. I mean, I guess sometimes they have a knot at the bottom, right?
Yeah, I've seen knots throughout. Also think it's
Oh,
very
oh,
funny.
you have?
I think I've seen.
So that is real.
I think maybe. I don't. I mean, again, I'm not a scholar of the rope climbing
So I'm gonna have
arts.
to take this out because I'm gonna sound so dumb then.
No,
because I'm
you're
laughing
definitely
at her
not.
for being dumb. No,
No,
I'm
no.
laughing at her for being dumb, thinking there's knots, but I'm the dumb one.
No, I don't think you're the dumb one. I think she's still the dumb
Well,
one.
we'll see. So anyhow, that's how rope climbing works, I guess.
Okay. Did we think anything about the A plot about the book at all, or no?
Well, do you think we need a proper like thing about the cliffhanger?
Last
Right,
book, she picks Todd over Heffrey.
right. So where we're starting in this book is she's picked Todd and like how's it gonna go?
Yeah.
And then I think it can be summarized in a sentence, which is now that Todd's at private school, they have to like renegotiate their relationship since they're not spending as much time together. And like it gets weird because they both end up making sacrifices of their commitments in ways that make them unhappy. Plus, he's kind of enjoying getting to know these people that Liz thinks is snobby. A bunch of tension gets created. They have a fight and then they make up and he decides to come back to Sweet Valley High. And Courtney is a bitch the whole time.
Hmm. That's it.
B plot is so whatever. Like,
The Olympics?
oh, I guess C plot. Isn't it this one? There's a little plot of like Jessica is applying to love it.
Yes.
Yeah. So Jessica is being like, oh, Liz is getting so much attention with all this Todd drama. Like, let me have something to do. Plus, I can meet new rich boys, even though she met one last time, it didn't exactly work out. But so in this book, she is like studying for these admissions tests and like being undermined by everyone she knows when she thinks she can like get into this school or whatever. And then she does an interview there and realizes she doesn't like them and decides to be a Sweet Valley High.
It
Yeah.
is, you said she already met one rich boy and it didn't work out. And I think the way that the book, this book treats, so it's Sheffield as a rich boy that she met. And remember from last book, she thought he was going to be great. And then it turns out that he's doing a senior project, caring about people and maybe living at a homeless shelter. This book treats
So much
that-
of an ethnographer.
and this book treats that as such a moral failing, like such a, well, of course it wouldn't work out because of like as if there was something wrong with him. When we've seen guys like, assault women with literally no consequences. But this guy trying to be an ethnographer, now that's too far. He'll get punished.
I guess I sort of thought it was trying to be a little bit funny, like facetious about that, like
I
because
would
they're
love
giving
that.
us just because just because like I feel like it's like more from Jess's perspective and it's sort of meant to be a little bit funny. Because that was the sort of irony of the last one, right? Which is like we're waiting for the other shoe to drop of like what's his bad quality. And it turns out his bad quality is like being a compassionate person, which for Jessica is too boring or whatever. I'm not saying I like that as a storyline for her. I thought it was sort of trying to be funny.
If it's a joke, it's funny.
But at the same time, it is sort of structurally really equating that other shoe with like violence, in
Yes.
terms of the sort of patterning. Mm. Yeah.
You want to show me?
Yeah.
I
Do
guess
you want to get the tagline?
Will Liz be able to make room in her life for Todd now that he's back? That's nothing, Robert. That's like 3 taglines.
It's not that. It's a little bit, for me, I saw it and I said,
No,
do you want me to give you like a cadence of it? Like a thing
that
of
worked
it?
really well last time.
Are you being sarcastic?
I
You
am.
did get it.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Wait, sorry.
All right.
So was this ideological and made you say or is it like provocative and it made you say Why are you saying
It gives one pause because it's like not sort of what how I would have expected them to word what's going on. Like I just a little bit, it's noticeable, like it's making me say, what is
Does
this
Liz have
telling
time
me?
for Todd? Did he do?
Mm-mm, mm-mm. Sorry, no. Forget it. Just keep guessing. Or I can just tell you. I can't do the 222. It's too stupid.
Fine. Very
Do you want me to
excited.
do it?
I mean,
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. It's not, that's not number of syllables, but it's like,
Todd's back, but is it good?
oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, Robert. No, but you got a half right. You got a half right. The system works. The system is working, as they
The
said
good
in
neighbor
Sweet Valley High.
system?
As they said in Sweet Valley High, super thriller number 2 on the run. Never forget it. They said the system is
The
working,
system's working.
and the do system works.
So Todd's back.
The next part, it's not what you said.
I've got some bad news. We have the test results here, and the last part is not what you said. Is it Todd's back dash or Todd's back comma?
Neither.
Todd's back exclamation point.
No.
Our listeners have hung up.
It's it's Todd's back and then another word. Todd's back and.
Todd's back
Mm.
and.
Mhm.
Give me the GTDs, please.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Things changed, or did they?
Okay. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Mm.
Todd's back, and Liz is happy.
Okay. You're too close, I gotta tell you. Very
Okay.
good. Todd's back and Elizabeth's got him.
Oh,
Doesn't that kind of make you say,
I am saying
right?
hmm.
Because it's like Elizabeth's got him.
As opposed to anyone
You know
else
what I
getting
mean?
him.
She's got him. It implies a risk that she doesn't got him, you
Mhm.
know? What
She's
were you gonna
captured
say?
him. I was going to say there's like a sense of like she's got her hooks in him. She's captured him. She's, you know.
Yeah, it's like very
Yeah.
like possessive, and as if he's like a prize, you know? It's like he's a trophy husband.
Like we're trying to win in the mini Olympics. I assume on the back it's a terrifying rope climb. ...
No, a rotten rope.
Oh wait, is it really?
No,
Oh, that'd be good.
but that would be so funny, a rotten rope. No, it's like literally nothing. It's like water. But it's like it truly that. Truly. And Robert was doing sleeping and writing face.
Reunited ... Is it reunited?
Robert, reunion. ...
I'll take it. Full points awarded.
Bravo.
And we are saying bravo.
Bravo.
We are being the good guessing one. Okay. Couvert. Okay. Is that what Todd looks like?
No.
Wait, is
Thank
that
you
not...
for noticing.
Oh.
No.
Wait, but that is to be Todd. Am I correct in that?
Yes, that is to be Todd.
He looks cute. I'm not mad.
I mean, first, I have to say this before my body explodes. They gave him green eyes or blue eyes, which
But
is
those aren't
deranged.
coffee-colored eyes.
One of his most famous features is his coffee-colored eyes.
It's all part of, we'll talk about that. I mean, he does look lean at least.
He looks leaner than he used to, I think.
When we saw some more, I don't know. He does look like every boy I would had a crush on in middle school. So he's got that going
He
for him.
looks also like he's only been back to Sweet Valley for like what, a few weeks, and already he's so tan. The first thing we learned about him when he showed up at her door last time was he was less tan than normal. It was like the first thing she noticed about him. And I'm like, so now he's even more tan than her?
Well, he's back.
I'm just mad. It's just salt in the wound after the last book. They made Jeffrey look like
Not good.
a fucking Gerber baby. Like, and now it's like Todd has this makeover. Ugh.
He's wearing a green button down that looks like something I would wear. He's wearing khaki pants and he's got a belt on. Liz is wearing, I believe it to be either a yellow or gold dress with kind of spaghetti straps, kind of an empire waist, and then like kind of a belt tie around it. There's some pleating.
It is interesting, I think, that even though the tagline says she's got him,
Mm-hmm.
he seems more to be gripping her he has one arm kind of around her shoulder pretty snugly, and then his other hand is on her arm in a way that, like, if I saw someone do that, I'd be
Mhm.
creeped out by it. Like,
I
it's
agree.
giving very abusive husband. No offense to him. Like, gripping a woman's arm that way is just weird. And then she has her hand on top of his hand on her arm in a gesture that I think could actually be so ambiguous. But like, if I just saw this, I would think, oh, this is the abusive boyfriend book
Yes.
where she's like smiling, haha, everything's okay, everything's okay. But like, it's not. But that's not what this book is about. This book is about her wanting him and being worried about losing him. Like, she's trying to be gripping him. So interesting.
The tension in his hand on her shoulder, jarring.
Hmm.
He's looking straight at us. She's looking a little askance or to the side. And it does kind of look like this is a photo taken at a semi-formal event that he is very proud of and that she feels trapped at.
Mm. Great point. Great point. Great point. Great point. Because that's, I think, the only context where it would make sense that she was wanting out,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, of the thing with him would be in that context. Because she's so happy to be with him and it was just the two of them alone, or when they're with the Sweet Valley kids, she's like so happy. But with his friends and his new rich context, she's uncomfortable. So that makes sense. It reminds me of, we've clocked how like we don't typically, even though her eyes are a little bit askance,
Mhm.
they're both facing forward and they're both kind of like ostensibly having a gaze forward, if you know what I mean.
Mhm.
Which we've clocked, I think the only other time we saw that was Family Secrets. Or like it at least reminds me of Family Secrets, where it was like the three of them sort of look like they're posing for a photo smiling, but it's like what lies beneath or whatever. So it's same vibes.
I agree with that. So the engine that drives the boat, the text opens. So I read with a Kindle and annotate with an Apple Pencil. I literally dropped my Apple Pencil at the opening of this. I don't believe it, Lila Fowler said incredulously. Lila's opening the book? Lila's part of our engine? That feels remarkable to me. Maybe not. Okay. Well, she put down her fork, her eyes sparkling as Jessica Wakefield filled her in on the news that was spreading like wildfire through Sweet Valley High. Are you saying that Elizabeth and Todd really got back together over the weekend? And that she broke up with Jeffrey Franch? It's like something out of a movie, Amy Sutton said, sighing dramatically. It sounds so romantic. You're not kidding, Carl Walker agreed. So give us all the details, Lila urged Jessica. Jessica raised one eyebrow and regarded her friends. Haven't you guys heard enough? No! 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 The three girls screamed in unison. Jessica grinned. Secretly, she was enjoying the attention. There was nothing Jessica liked better than being in the middle of the action. And right now, she was more than in the middle of it. She was its twin. We've had a lot of talk in previous texts about Jessica's desire to be the center of the action, and they always refer to it as the action. That's why she is a good Real Housewife or Survivor player, or she'd be great on Traders, obviously, because she drives action. And this sets me up to understand that although this book is ostensibly about whatever his name is, Todd, I guess, and Liz, it's really about Jess and Jess kind of negotiating her own role, how she fits in or doesn't fit in, how she can articulate or assign her own importance based on what's going on around her, etc. If you're reading this and thinking like, oh, Jessica's satisfied to be the twin of the action, you've never read one of these books before. Jessica's not the twin of the action. Jessica is the action.
Interesting.
Uh-oh.
I do think it is about Liz and Todd. I think it's also about Jess. But
But
I agree with you that like the phrasing of this, it says she likes to be in the middle of the action, and right now she was more than in the middle of it. She was its twin. But like being its twin isn't more than being in the middle of it, actually. Being its twin means you're peripheral to it, even if you're very close. And so, yeah, I think I agree with you. It's misleading in the sense that it's sort of broken logic, and it is maybe pointing to the fact that like Jessica's enjoyment of being the twin of the action can only last so long. Like that's going to wear off, and eventually she needs to be back in the actual middle of it, which is then why she goes on this whole love it spree. I wrote about the first page, I wrote worst exposition ever. this book is very connected to the last book, so they're going to have to get through some stuff, right? So it starts with, I don't believe it, Lila says. Are you saying that Elizabeth and Todd really got back together over the weekend and that she broke up with Jeffrey French?
Her previous boyfriend, the boy she was dating before she was dating Todd. Remember Todd?
I wasn't necessarily surprised that it starts with Lila kind of saying something, but I did clock her eyes sparkling. And thinking her eyes are sparkling because she is hot for Jeffrey, which gets reviewed the next page or a couple pages or whatever. But having it start with Lila, I think, is a nice reminder of her kind of stakes in all this.
Speaking of how bad the exposition is, I don't know if you probably don't remember, because did they mention it last book or not? I can't remember. Did they mention, because Todd moved back, but why did he move back again? Was it some kind of basketball thing? Or because they didn't mention it at all. Why did he move back again?
His mom? Maybe one of their parents, her work, her job. Her job.
Do they even work? Oh, that's what it is. Todd's father is president of Veritronics, a fact that is presented on this page 3 times.
I have it clocked on 4 or 5 separate times in this book, I think, or 6. I've written them down. It's out of control.
It's unwell
making. It's like, why? Why is the book so obsessed with this? Okay, oh my God, now I feel like I've caught the disease. It's contagious. Because I was just about to be to the listeners, just to clarify, if we didn't explain it already, Todd moved back because his dad is the president of this company, Veritronics. Oh my God,
dare you?
No, but it's I have that disease. It's the words president of Veritronics. The more you say it, it tricks you into thinking you haven't said it.
I mean, that would make sense because Jessica says, besides, now that Todd's father is president of Veritronics, now that he's practically a millionaire, ... Then the narrator says, Amy had a point. Todd's father had returned to Sweet Valley to take over as president of Veritronics. Then Amy grumbles, now that his dad is a hotshot corporate president.
It's like a virus. It's like COVID.
Well, let's not.
It affects you. Jessica says, she ends the conversation by saying, I'm going to get rid of this disgusting chicken salad, then go over to see how my sister's love life is doing.
Do we remember when I pretended I'd never heard of chicken salad?
Yes.
What was that about? Because when I read this, I was like, I know what chicken salad is. But when we were talking about it last time, I literally was like, I've never heard of chicken salad. But I have, right?
Well, here's the thing. To make this more confusing,
yeah.
What we discussed last time that sort of added to the confusion was that there were, I believe, 2 different types of chicken salad referenced in the book. One was chicken salad like tuna salad, and the other was chicken on a salad. But I'm actually not sure which one they're talking about in this book. What did you interpret?
Oh, I assume chicken like tuna salad.
That was what I first did. But then
God, I love you.
But then I was like, wouldn't it say chicken salad sandwich? Because if it said tuna salad, or would you just say tuna salad? Maybe it wouldn't. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure.
Listeners, sound off in the comments.
when Elsa, what was her name? The mom Liz was babysitting for.
Oh, I'm never going to know that name. I can't.
Elsa Bartell. When Elsa Bartell told Liz there's chicken salad in the fridge, cold chicken salad rather. There was, so whatever. I don't know. But if something was going to be disgusting, it would more likely be tuna salad, chicken salad, don't you think? Salad with chicken on it, it's hard for that to be disgusting. Whereas tuna salad, chicken salad, it's the mayo, it's the whatever.
Yeah, no, it's tuna salad, chicken salad. I feel
okay, good. I wish there should be a new name for it because it's hard to say that. Tuna salad, chicken salad, can we come up with a shorthand?
We could. We also need to keep moving.
Okay.
Because we're on page 3.
Okay. Liz and Enid are bitches. When Jessica is telling them, and as are her parents, as is every single person in this town, that when Jessica talks to them about her interest in applying to Lovett, they're just like, oh, well, you don't seem like the type. They dress conservatively and they have a dress code and you have to really focus on your coursework. And everyone's so undermining of her. And
Till Jessica said, think of all the interesting people I'd meet. Elizabeth glanced lesbianically at Enid. Interesting boys, she said. It's like, fuck y'all. She's not getting a good education here at Sweet Valley High. She can't take Russian, which she mentioned several times because she's really interested in taking Russian.
Then a couple pages later, we get like more exposition about what happened last time and how Jeffrey was like a hero exposing these tricks at the gazebo and whatnot. And it goes, Jeffrey could have easily conspired to keep Elizabeth and Todd apart, especially since Courtney Kane, the daughter of the CEO of Veritronics and Todd's classmate in Lovett, had determined to make Todd her boyfriend. So he's CEO and chairman of the board
Correct.
and owns a TV station.
Correct.
He sounds like
Bruce Wayne?
I want to say Berlusconi. Who's the Italian like corrupt
Berlusconi
prime
is an
minister
Italian corrupt person. Full points awarded.
who like owns all the media and stuff?
It could be Berlusconi.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Or like Rupert Murdoch or something.
Oof.
I don't know.
Then we get some classic Liz can't pay attention because she's too focused on Todd and the warmth of his lips. And it's like, let's all calm down.
Warm, warm, warm. She's like, how am I gonna ever get used to being madly in love again?
And then we get more kind of rudeness to Jessica about Lovett. We get one of the most comical lines in all of literature. Elizabeth didn't like to prejudge anyone. Huh, she doesn't? But several of the Lovett Academy students, especially Courtney Kane, had been very snooty and unkind to Elizabeth. I don't even think they, whatever. She does like to prejudge everyone. And I'm not going to be lied to. Don't pee on my leg and tell me you're not prejudging me. Judge Judy. It's in your name.
So Jessica starts the conversation about Lovett with her parents she goes, I've been giving a great
Sorry, can
I've
we
been
just do a
giving
quick trigger warning to our listeners who have complicated relationships with their parents? Because this is tough stuff.
I mean, I had caps lock. I had caps lock scrawling, fuck Ned, fuck Ned. You know, I think at one point we were calling him Lucifer.
Yeah, I think that could come right on back.
I don't know when we sort of relaxed
Yeah.
the rules on that. I think he needs to be
Institutionalized. Rehabilitated.
punished severely. No,
Some people
No.
are beyond repair.
I don't think he can be rehabilitated. First of all, I wrote, God forbid he make dinner once.
Alice, the devil himself, said with an appreciative smile, how is it you managed to put together a meal like this after a 10-hour workday? I just like, fuck you.
And she smiles at her daughters and goes, call it a little daughterly assistance, smoothing back her blonde hair. And it's like sort of implying that she's taking more credit for it. They really did it, but she's saying they just helped her. Whatever. It's like, oh, haha, they like wink at each other of this. We've been told it's canon that the girls take turns preparing dinner on the weeknights because, okay, the word because, Alice, their mother, works full-time as an interior designer. The father is just apparently has no role in this at all, and it's never even considered that he would ever lift a finger. And then when Jessica's like, speaking of long hours and hard work, I've been giving a great deal of thought lately to the kind of education I'm receiving at Sweet Valley High. And then Ned goes, do you mean the new cheers you're learning in cheerleading practice or the new handshake at the sorority? And she's like, I'm serious.
Sorry, you cannot go by that so quickly. I'm sorry to be.
He's disgusting. He's disgusting. What else is there to say?
But say it.
I can't because I'll get in trouble if I say what I feel about him. What I feel about him is a horror movie. It's torture. I want to torture him. That's where my mind goes.
I can see that. You watch a lot of horror movies.
The ways I would torture him, sort of physically and psychologically.
Like in a Saw situation, or do you have more of like a leaving him behind on a scuba trip vibe, or like what's your thought process there?
I never saw Saw.
That's surprising.
Well, I'm not into like torture porn or whatever, like torture-y horror movies. I actually don't like that, but with Ned, I'll make an exception.
Thank you.
All I know is I want it to be slow.
Okay. I was thinking about, have you seen The Princess Bride?
No, we've talked about this.
We have not talked about this. You've never seen The Princess Bride? I love it. Was one of my favorite movies growing up. There's this moment where the main character is like, we will fight to the pain. And the other guy goes, to the death? And he goes, no, to the pain. And he like describes how he will mutilate the man and still leave his ears intact so that he can hear the echoing, every echoing cry of what is that? Good God, echoes in his mind forever to the pain.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So I thought you might be interested.
Your ears you keep, and I'll tell you why. So that every shriek of every child at seeing your hideousness will be yours to cherish, will echo in your perfect ears. That is what the pain means. It means I leave you in anguish, wallowing in freakish misery forever.
So she's like, well, she goes, I think I'm the kind of student who needs a private school. I need all the benefits of small classes, extra attention from teachers, exclusive teaching methods,
Enormous tuition bills.
Ned adds dryly. And here's the thing. On the one hand, they're reacting like it's very, I don't know, pretentious or uncalled for or whatever for her to be like asking about this. But then Mrs. Wakefield is like, well, Jess, like you always knew that it was an option and that you guys were welcome to like explore private school. So like, how
What?
come you're only bringing this up now? And it's like, oh, so they are willing to pay for it, or like they are okay with that? So then why are they like demonizing her for asking about it? And then how come their reaction is to not believe her? You always knew this was an option, so like how come you're asking this now?
Huh?
They're the worst.
Yeah.
She like says all this stuff and all these details about the courses and the learning atmosphere, and she can learn Russian and she can get into a better college.
Mhm.
And Mr. Wakefield's like, have you done any research on this, or
Yeah.
is it just an idea? I'm like, she just spent the last 3 pages clearly detailing a lot of thought she's put into this. She like went to the library to learn about it. Then ultimately they're like, okay, well, we're open to it. Like, get more information.
Yeah, your mother and I have never felt strongly one way or the other. We really felt it was up to you girls. But
They don't
but if-
care about shit.
right? But if it
But then-
all they care about is making her feel bad. Because
Yes.
if it really were up to her, they would just say, okay. So it isn't up to her. Like they wouldn't be minimizing, they wouldn't be demonizing. I can't and I won't.
It's so weird.
I can't and I won't.
I hate them. Okay. Sorry, just one last thing.
Never apologize.
I do actually think that she probably is the kind of kid that actually could benefit from this school.
I agree.
She may have, I could see her as someone who maybe like could have a diagnosed ADHD, who could benefit from things like smaller classes. She's super, super smart. She's an unconventional thinker. You know, this sort of environment, having also alternative classes, like later they talk about an interdisciplinary course on ancient Greece. I'm like, that sounds cool. And like Jess would probably actually thrive. So
Remember the
and
mini
she
courses?
probably would get into a better college. Yeah, so fuck all of them.
Thank you.
Okay.
We get Elizabeth visiting Todd and having to adjust how big the new house is and how rich they are. They miss each other so much. They're very much performing two people in love. I did think it was funny when Elizabeth says, I didn't think people ever got second chances. It's like, bitch, there have been books called Second Chances.
There's been like multiple books called
Yeah.
Second Chances.
Almost every book is called Second Chances, or should be called Second Chances.
They watch a movie in his screening room.
They take pains to say over and over again that his dad had recorded onto VHS for him. That's all. They don't tell us what the movie is, certainly.
And Liz decides her homework can wait. And that's how we know we're at the top of a devil's slide. Because Liz is not someone who's usually letting her homework wait.
Yep.
And then we learn that she is planning to leave an Oracle meeting early to go meet Todd.
I hate this.
And I wrote, we know when people let their Oracle duties slip,
Nothing good's happening.
they're in trouble, like Olivia, last book.
Mm-hmm.
And like Liz and Dear Sister.
The Oracle meeting we get to see, it's pretty bad. I don't know. Penny's just like in a really bad mood, and Mr. Collins has made a list of problems he's noticed with the paper. It just feels like I know feedback is a gift. I know that's like one of your big mantras, but it just feels like this is really negative and it's not letting me be constructive and helpful around what I want out of the Oracle.
Yeah, it's so weird. Everything about it is weird. First of all, that they describe it as like, there's a bunch of problems in the newspaper, so we need to like fix them. And the way this is being communicated is that Collins noticed these, and then Penny is conveying them through a list. It's like, Collins is usually at these meetings. Why don't they make him show up at one and like talk to them about this stuff in person. That would be the meeting for him to come to instead of it being conveyed on a list vis-a-vis Penny. And like, don't frame it as problems. And like, what even are they? Like, I want to know what these problems are.
But most shockingly, although this basically gets dropped,
I know.
literally Penny goes, I think it may be time to scrap eyes and ears and try something new. What do you think, Liz? And then basically that just gets scrapped. The idea of scrapping it gets scrapped, I guess.
Yeah, shocking that they just like dropped that. And that Liz, it doesn't seem super shocked by it.
No,
She's
she
like,
doesn't care.
Maybe. Yeah.
I like the idea of starting a new project. It's like, you do?
Jeffrey's in the meeting and
Mm.
Liz is uncomfortable because like Olivia sort of reveals that Liz got in trouble in math class for having not done her homework. And Liz is like, oh no, Jeffrey's watching me thinking, wow, she's not doing her homework. That's unusual.
And then we get juxtaposed against Elizabeth's neglecting of Oracle and the homework for Todd. We get Jessica getting scolded for neglecting cheerleading because she's focused on Lovett Academy. Is Jessica praised for attending to her studies and thinking about forging a better path for her future? She is not.
Todd and Liz at Second Lake or whatever. I mean, the major thing I think we know.
Do you want to
So
issue
Todd
another
is telling-
trigger warning or what?
Trigger warning for
Everyone.
anyone who's been a kid or who has kids or who knows kids.
Great. Good.
So Todd's like, it was a typical day at Levitt. We had junior seminars first thing in the morning. There's a special interdisciplinary course on ancient Greece. Oh, that was great. The lunch hour, he rolled his eyes. Today, Tim Sollers told us that he's been invited to dinner at Michael Jackson's house. Well,
Yeah.
remember the book where Robin Wilson narrowly escaped the Sarah Lawrence sex cult?
Oh my gosh. Yes, of
Because
course.
Well, in this book, I think we have honestly Todd escaping Neverland
Okay.
because if he would have stayed at Lovett, he would have probably become friends with Tim Sollers, and he
Definitely.
would have ended up being invited to Michael Jackson's house.
That would be bad.
Yeah.
For a myriad of reasons. They kind of rationalize out why they're both getting in trouble for not doing their obligations. Todd said, there'll be plenty of days for basketball practice. How many chances do I have to lie here with you on such a beautiful afternoon? It's like, I think we need to figure out our balance here. And they do.
I did like that this whole thing of them making these sacrifices that we can tell isn't sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
They don't keep up that pretense for really long. Pretty much early into the next chapter, they're upfront with each other about how like this isn't sustainable. And they try something else, and now they're going to try only evenings and weekends instead of right after school, or like whatever. But at least they're talking like it's not them doing this for like 5 chapters, which would have been annoying to keep reading.
Okay.
I'm surprised you didn't mention Todd goes, and besides, I guess Lovett isn't all that bad. I met a guy I like a lot,
Oh, yeah.
Sandy Winters. I'm like, wow, how quickly you forget about Chef. Chef is then denigrated, and Sheffield Eastman is a really nice guy. I'm like, oh, he's second now? Anyhow.
One thing that is slightly weird is just they recap the plot from last book about Courtney trying to get Liz to see Todd and Courtney kissing. But in this book, they say the plan had been to lure Elizabeth out to Todd's summer house. Whereas we know, of course, gazebo.
I know, but I decided to let that go because I felt like they were just deciding to use those interchangeably. And I'm like, well, I don't personally think of them as interchangeable, but like, I don't know, maybe in the 80s they spoke of them as that way, like pool house, gazebo, like
Summer
house.
Like... Sorry for screaming.
You think they were talking about the show on Bravo?
No, okay, don't make fun of me. But no one would ever consider a gazebo a summer house. Right?
I wouldn't either, but like, we're not in this time period. Like, maybe they used to. I don't know. We have to have some generosity at least.
I don't.
Okay.
Gazebo versus summer house. What's the difference?
Okay, I feel like we could skip chapter 5.
Wait, a summer house is... Sorry, I'm learning more.
I know what a summer... What?
I don't think a summer house is what we're thinking of as a summer house.
I know that. I'm not thinking, I'm choosing not to think of what we think of as a summer house as a summer house.
Huh?
I can't. Please, can we just
A
call it a
gazebo, unlike a
gazebo?
summer house, will not have a door or any fitted windows. A summer house is more like a shed.
The gazebo with Nikki Shepherd had a door. The gazebo with Nikki Shepherd had a door.
Wait, Nikki
Oh,
Shepherd, that wasn't a gazebo, that was a pool house.
I can't do this. I
I think
can't.
you're gonna have to.
I can't. No, it's too complicated. We don't have time.
Okay.
If it was something simple, we could, but this is
Okay.
way too
Yeah,
complicated. I'm
we're
sorry.
actually
We
we're
just have
running
to
out
put a
of
pin in
time.
it. Because at this rate, I'm never going to be able to tell you my ice cream story.
Oh shit, I already forgot about my carrot, my orange sherbet flavored carrot. Okay, we get the introduction of the mini Olympics.
Okay, I just need to say quickly about the
Quickly.
company that's supposedly sponsoring this, which is a new shoe company that is not KED, K-E-D, but is KID, K-I-D-D. And they describe this as a sponsorship, but they go, the competition is being run by WXCY and the Kid Tennis Shoe Company. The winning school gets to pick a team of students, which, what? How are they supposed to pick that team of students who gets to be on the commercial? And they get a trophy and da-da. And I'm like, huh. So what makes it a sponsorship? What does it mean to sponsor? It means give money.
Mhm.
So what is KID contributing to this?
Kid.
The opportunity to be in a commercial is just free labor. I mean, are they paying for food and drink at the event? Are they paying for water bottle? I mean, where's the sponsorship component?
I don't know. So then we get so unfortunately we have to get the mini Olympics introduced twice.
I thought you would love all the details about how there's the qualifying matches, then there's the later ones.
God. 10 schools enter. Day one is qualifying, and the top two
It's like a
schools
bracket.
go to the finals. It's not like a bracket, first and foremost.
If only it were like
Because a bracket might make sense. If you're just doing 10 goes to 2 and then the 2 compete again, why wouldn't you just have all 10 compete? Like,
I liked Courtney dragging Elizabeth when they see her at Love It, and she goes, "What a sweet little outfit. I didn't know you could find skirts that length anymore."
that is pitch perfect. That is truly amazing.
Chapter 6. So Jess is telling Liz, like, "Oh, I wish I were you," because Liz is getting dressed up for this fancy country club party that Courtney's family is hosting or whatever, because she's gonna go with Todd's date and like she's dreading it. And she's like, "What am I gonna say to these people?" And Jessica goes, "They're probably all so glamorous. Talk to them about yachting, horses, flying the Concorde to Paris." And that
Mm-hmm.
really made me laugh.
Mm-hmm.
But it also reminded me of a scene from the old Roni,
Okay.
New York Housewives. And it was when Sonia Morgan, who, do you know her? She like used to be married to the grandson of JP Morgan.
Oh, wow. Good
And
for
it's like,
her.
she's like basically Miss Havisham. She for years lived in this crumbling townhouse, and it was her thing that she got from the marriage, and she was like completely obsessed with the Morgans and her connection to them, and it was like extremely, extremely sad to watch for years. She just like it was really dark. Anyhow, there were a couple seasons where she was really drinking a lot and like really
Ooh.
being very, very dark about this space of her life. And she would just compulsively like try to overcompensate and always talk about like being in safe bars or like doing this. And like she would always just like try to drop names and like try to be rich even though she was not rich anymore.
Oh.
And Bethany at one point was like, it was so funny. Sonia was so drunk and she would just wouldn't shut up at this dinner and like everyone wanted to kill her. And Bethany, who was like trying to give her tough love, she's like, "Sonia, you need to just shut up. Like you need to stop talking." She goes, "You're on a loop. Smoky eye updo start. Smoky eye updo start. Smoky eye updo start." She said it like 100 times. And it was so funny.
Smoky eye updo and start. Smoky eye updo and start. Smoky eye updo and start.
Great. Let's keep moving, though. We go to the party. The party's terrible.
Todd is being moody in the car because his CD player is giving him trouble. And Liz goes, "Well, that's the thing about expensive new toys. Sometimes they don't work."
It's true. They go to the party. Everyone's having a bad time. This gross guy is hitting on.
Well, no, not everyone's having a bad time. Only Liz. Once Liz and Todd separate, he seems to be having a great time.
Is that true?
Yeah, he's hanging out with I think he was downplaying it when they left, and he's like, "Oh man, those people."
I didn't
But
read
okay,
that. That's
we can go to
good.
the text.
No,
Let's go
no.
to the text.
Oh yeah, Todd was so busy talking to his classmates he didn't have much time to spend with Elizabeth. Maybe he was having a nice time. Which is, yeah, it's weird. Campbell Rochester the fourth, whose dad, of course, is Wilson Rochester, which is kind of confusing because if you're Campbell Rochester the fourth, isn't your father Campbell Rochester the third? But I guess not.
That's maybe Wilson's his nickname. Not a typical nickname for Campbell.
Wouldn't think so.
They all have names like Campbell Rochester the Fourth. Like all the rich people's names are like
And we get all of them.
Bureaucracy Rothschild, like or whatever the fuck.
Except for Ben Orson, who is a Sweet Valley High student who Liz recognizes, but it turns out he's the hired help. He's not actually a guest at the party.
He's a caddy.
How embarrassing.
And all the girls are like, oh my gosh, Liz is talking to the help. And then Liz thinks to herself, if Todd can stand these people, can I stand him?
Which is fair.
Because she hates them so much. Yep.
I do think so. She goes to find Todd. He'd gone off with Sheffield Bureaucracy the Third, to look at athletic trophies in the club's display case. Todd smiles
That's
warmly.
code. That's code for something.
Oh, that
to look
is
at trophies.
code for-
Come on.
I've been reading this with heterosexual eyes. What's going on with me? Oh, gross. I should pluck these
You've
eyes
become
out.
very straight, and everyone's saying it.
Yeah, they should be.
Too
They
straight.
must be. Too straight. So Todd sees Liz and goes, Liv, I've been looking everywhere for you. And Elizabeth feels a flood of relief. She asks if he has a good time. And he shrugs and then shakes his head and goes, not really, gal. You up for leaving? We could... I can't do it. I'm getting too straight. We could drive to the Dairy Burger and get some real dinner. And she says, you sure you don't want to stay longer? And he says, I'm sure. Let's just thank Courtney and take off. I think he really is having a bad time. But maybe it's just because she's having a bad time?
Yeah, like I think it's sort of gray area, but I think he's downplaying. I think he's
Okay.
making it more push towards that he's not. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because the reason I say that is because in this moment, doesn't seem so much, except for the fact that he was busy talking to people. But then, like when they're in their fight later, and he's like showing that he really does enjoy, like he's frustrated with her because he's enjoying all these aspects of love it, and she's like, in his perspective, not supportive of that. So that is why I have that reading also.
Intrigued. One thing we didn't cover is Liz is on the same team as Jeffrey. Did we talk about how they're competing against Todd's team? Todd's on the relay team for Lovett. He has the absolute unmitigated gay gall to say, couldn't you switch and do something else? Or just bag it all together and come cheer for me? Like, he thinks that she should just give up being on the relay team, one of the most important honors in a young woman's life, just to cheer for him?
Back up.
Yeah.
First of all, it was weird that so Liz and Todd are hanging out at SVH, and Todd's like, oh, I'll stay and watch you guys practice.
That
And
was really weird.
they were all kind of uncomfortable with it, and he was pushing it. And then ultimately Ken or Winston or someone was like, can you actually leave? It is kind of weird. Like, you're competing exactly against us. And finally Todd leaves and he's like annoyed about it. And then them two are talking. He's like, I'm really uncomfortable that you're competing against me in this thing. And like, which itself is weird. Like, why? Why does that make you uncomfortable? It's so strange. And then to be like, will you quit and cheer me on? And then she gets mad and he goes, I was joking, but I don't like your tone. And I'm
Yeah.
like, first of all, you were not
You weren't
joking.
joking. That
And
is
second of
such
all,
bad
fuck
boy
you.
behavior.
Like, so gross.
The idea of
So
like
gross.
throwing out a test balloon and saying something really, really gross and awful, and then being like, oh, I was just joking, but I don't like how you reacted to what I said, is such manipulative, abusive, terrible. It's just icky, bicky, ooh, ooh, ooh.
It's really manipulative. And he then calls her defensive.
Yeah.
We do get a point when Liz is talking to Jess about her ambivalence about Todd's new station in life, etc. And we get the point that she says she's noticed that his values have changed.
Mm-hmm.
I clocked that because I'm like, okay, that's interesting because values is something that is important. And if there's a moment where she's talking about explicit examples where she feels like his values have changed, I'm interested in that.
Mhm.
And Okay, I can't find the page, but I remember what the examples were. One was that he talks about money a lot now. And I'm like, okay, that seems legit. And then the other one was like, and he's interested in polo. And I understand where she's coming from. Like, it's a rich people exclusive sport, and you could be kind of like, about it. But to me, that's a little bit different. I don't know. It's not as much like that could be just more something like, well, he's with all these people who play polo. He is playing polo. Like, I don't know. It's a little bit different. It reminded me of like on Good Girls, there was the storyline, I'll just really quick, where Mae Whitman's kid was going to a fancy private school that the rich ex was sending the kid to. And she would bond with her kid by like making fun of it and making fun of how pretentious their whole like rich people are. But then like she didn't even know that the kid was loving it and like joined the lacrosse team because she makes fun of how like all lacrosse kids are rapists or whatever. And like the kid who's trans has actually been accepted by these kids and is like thriving. But she was so biased against it and didn't realize she was even like alienating her own kid from her. Anyway, it sort of reminded me a little bit of some of Liz's critiques, I think, are legitimate, which is like people being snobby or shallow. But like just the fact in itself of Todd enjoying a new sport doesn't have to be something she says is like him having bad values. So she could have a little more open heart on that, you know?
Yeah, but she's not willing to. I get this now feeling that ever since his father's promotion, Todd's values are changing. He talks a lot more about money than he used to. He told me yesterday at the beach that he wants to learn how to play polo. This is Todd, who used to say any sport but basketball was out of the question.
I was surprised you didn't mention the good-natured wrestling that happened between Todd and Ken.
No, has it happened yet?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I have it highlighted. They're homos. Am I getting straight?
You are, yeah. It's like, why am I being the one noticing all the gay stuff?
I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm the one looking at the clock.
All right, where are we at time-wise?
We're over, so we're gonna just power through.
Oh, then Todd cries about how much pressure it is adjusting to being Reg.
And he's half an hour late to meet Liz. He doesn't apologize until she says, "Do you realize how late you are?" He nonchalantly says, "I'm sorry." And I'm like, oh, wait, are we going to get this whole plot line of Todd being a dick? And like, is this going to irreparably damage their relationship? Are Liz and Todd headed for disaster? But no.
I wrote down, well, his anger issues haven't changed because his knuckles get white.
Yeah.
When like they're having a pretty whatever little fight about this. But I did find it realistic, and I enjoyed reading the description of this interaction in general because it said something like, because things were already tense between them, like small details got magnified. Yes. Because they're already coming with both of their little resentments that they've been building but haven't shared. So then it's like him showing up late and not apologizing, which is rude. That's like enough for her to then, she's ready to go off, right? For him being already so defensive about Love It and feeling like she's so unsupportive and judgmental about it, any little thing from her is going to be so big in his perception, right? It totally felt realistic how that tension built and then blew at that moment.
And when she goes, "I can't believe you. Why are you feeling sorry for yourself? Because you have to get used to having your own new screening room and a mansion to live in and a brand new BMW? I don't think it's your parents who care so much about Love It Academy. Let's be fair, Todd. You like being at Love It, and you can't blame it on your parents." And I think this is where we really get... We've had some of Jessica's economic anxieties before. I think Liz, too, has some economic anxieties. And I think this is kind of rearing its head. But if she's smart, she just kind of sits quietly and then marries the son of the president of Veratronics. That is a golden ticket, Liz. You've won the lottery.
Yeah, well, she has in the past shown that she sometimes is intimidated by people that she perceives as some like class associated status, but also like intellectual people that go to fancy schools, like Suzanne Devlin, or like how she was about the Switzerland private school. Like she's into it.
Okay, so they have this fight. They break up, actually.
Yeah, but it's like, maybe we should break up, you know? Like, and then it's like, okay, fine, or whatever.
Maybe we should stop seeing each other, stop seeing each other. Are you sure that's what you want? I don't know. I just can't stand fighting with you. Maybe we should break up.
There aren't even any nuts or footholds. I guess that's how rope climbing works.
Not exactly my strongest skill, but I'll do what I can. Sorry, I know that we've already belabored this point. Jeffrey and Robin are doing the three-legged race. Wouldn't it be ideal to have two people who are similar heighted and similar builds doing the three-legged race so their hips line up and so they can be like Liz and Robin should be doing the three-legged race. Someone else should be climbing the rope.
Honestly, if we're really being real, there's probably a diving competition, and that's what Robin should be doing.
So
Is there not a diving
the
competition?
only aquatics seem to be one swimming competition that, of course, Bill is going to take care of.
Oh. All right. And they're doing all gender, like
Yeah.
there's no question. It's all, which is sort of progressive.
It's super aggressive. I mean, like the mixed doubles of it all. It's just interesting because it's like the way they finally figured out is like every event is worth 10 points. And so the quiz bowl is worth 10 points. The swimming competition is worth 10 points. And this fucking relay competition is worth 10 points. It's like, this is confusing.
They have the qualifying match. They qualify, I guess, whatever. We learned that Amy's into Ken.
Oh, yeah.
That's gonna be a thing
That's gonna
next
come
book, I
up.
guess.
We learned that Roberta Thornton is someone on the Lovett team who's in charge of figuring out who gets which role. Jonathan Davis is also on the relay team.
Stop. You're
It's
being
not
rude.
my fault.
Chapter 10 just has her Lovett interview. She realizes that it's stuffy. She bumps into Todd, and Todd's basically like, let's just know that he misses Liz.
Mhm.
And then I loved it
Love
that the
it.
next section starts with, tell me again, Elizabeth begged her. I told you, Jess said, aggravated. How many times can you stand hearing the same thing? That felt so realistic to me. They're both just being kind of stubborn or whatever, but it's like, she's like, tell me again. That it's like so exciting for her to hear that Todd misses her. I laughed at Jess being like, I don't have time to listen to cries from the lovelorn.
I also like that Jess is like, call him. And Liz
Yeah.
is like, he should make the first move. And she goes, very mature attitude, Liz. If I said something like that, do you know what you do? That it takes more than one person to have an argument. I'm like, good for her.
Bravo.
Okay, can we keep moving?
Yeah, skip Courtney.
Do you
Bob
want to skip?
Dylan
They cheat on the stupid thing. They cheat on the college bowl.
by pulling a curtain. Jess
Because
spots it,
they get a book with all of the questions and answers in it. And so they just
which is not explained. They have all these other pages dedicated to like the planning of this scheme, but then they're just like, Courtney's like, yeah, I have all the answers to the questions here. No mention of how she got that.
Yeah. Can we very quickly, I know that you hate this and we do not have time, but you need to know, our listeners deserve to know that Lovett's College Bowl team had Sheffield Eastman, a senior named Bradley Tushingham. That's Tushingham. I'm actually going to read the whole sentence again so you get maximum impact of the third one. Lovett's team had Sheffield Eastman, a senior named Bradley Tushingham, and a movie director's daughter named Allison DeLong. She doesn't have a year in school. She's just a movie director's daughter, Allison DeLong.
Okay. Pascal's rotted rope.
Yep.
Liz falls off the rope. Seeing her so kind of helpless and injured makes Todd horny. And he's like, I love you. And she's like, me too, or whatever. And then they do a tug of war because there's a tie. And Jess gives Courtney the business and wins. And Todd's like, I'm going to come back to Sweet Valley High. And Jeffrey's a class act again.
And then we're just down to Ken and Amy. Amy thinks he's really cute. They have a lot in common too. And I guess Amy Sutton and Ken Matthews, they didn't strike Jessica as a likely couple. Ken was such a good, regular, solid guy. And Amy was one of the most flirtatious, boy-crazy girls in the whole school. Still, stranger things had happened before. And I was like, they don't seem like that odd a match, do they? They're both popular, pretty, sporty.
They're not an odd match at all.
Okay.
Maybe Jess is annoyed because in Lost at Sea, she was briefly thinking about hooking up with him.
Of course, it was probably just that Ken was one of the best looking guys at school. Jessica couldn't deny that. She had gone out with Ken a few times in the past herself. But what worried Jessica was that Ken was the kind of guy who took things seriously. He would which also doesn't make sense because Jessica went on casual dates with him several times. So he doesn't always take things seriously, but whatever.
He's literally famous for being the casual dating guy.
Yeah. He would probably think Amy had more in mind than just fun. It's strange to be thinking this, Jessica said to herself, but I sure hope Amy doesn't break Ken's heart. Are Amy and Ken an item? Get ready for whiplash. Find out in Sweet Valley High number 60, That Fatal Night. How dare you start this with Are Amy and Ken an item and end with That Fatal Night?
Do you have any thoughts on what's coming? Like, if you had to say a prediction of like, what does this mean?
I am very, very worried that we are going to drive to Lovett for a party and someone is going to die in a car accident.
Why love it?
Because
Now that Todd's back.
Oh, maybe not. I don't know. Because Courtney, I mean, Jessica says in this book, now that I'm not going to love it, Courtney can't impact me anymore. And maybe she throws a big party and fucks her over or something. I mean, somebody dies.
Well, if you're in love again,
Ooh.
you want your partner to understand that you have your own life and your own interests.
I guess I do.
And you must keep up with your own interests. And you shouldn't be leaving meetings early and sacrificing yourself and your life for them.
No, I
So
shouldn't.
one great step that you can take to honor yourself and honor your values is to open your podcast apps to say Sweet Valley Hive, rate 5 stars. If you haven't yet, review. Just a little easy, breezy review. Just, oh, loving the pod. That's all you have to say. You know, it makes me laugh, makes me chuckle, makes me think a little bit, reflect on my own teenage years. Who knows, whatever it is, and subscribe and send to a friend.
And if you're in love again and you're having difficulty navigating kind of where do we fit together? What do we do together? What do we do separately? How do I maintain my identity but have shared interests? Maybe actually one of your shared interests is Sweet Valley Hive, the podcast. And so you take your new lover, who's your old lover because you're in love again, you take your lover's phone, you open it to the apps page, you go to the Spotify app, you immediately subscribe them. You go to the podcast app, you immediately subscribe them. You give it 5 stars on their behalf.
You know what would be great actually if your lover goes to a different high school than you
Ooh, yeah.
and you want to stay connected, as Robert said, and like one way you can do that is by sharing this interest. You could actually start a sort of book club around the podcast. You could either read the books and listen to the pod together, or you could just listen to the pod together and then talk
discuss.
about it. Yeah,
I love that idea.
sort of book club.
I love a kind of meta commentary on a book club. It's like very rich, very satisfying. Okay. We have 1 minute left. Hit me with your sherbet.
Oh
You
my
better
God.
hit me
When
with
I was
that
a little kid,
sherbet.
there was this place called Lime Ricky's. It was like a diner. It's not around anymore. And they used to have this put it together yourself ice cream sundae menu. And I used to get orange sherbet in a cone with marshmallow sauce and Kit Kat sticking up out of it. And they would always give me a look like, you must be nuts. And I said, we don't use that word that way, even though I was 8. And I said, bring me my sherbet just how I asked for it. And they would, and it was delicious. Then, as an adult, when I'm at Baskin Robbins, I love to have a very unusual combo, but I'm telling you, you won't regret it. It's orange sherbet and Jamocha almond fudge. Don't forget your lactate. Deuces.
Disgusting. Okay.
Thanks for listening to Sweet Valley Hive, hosted by Robert Marks and Rebecca Pardo. For more, check out our Instagram at Sweet Valley Hive. Theme song by Yessie and artwork by Elliot Carroll.